The following WCIA3 sports presentation is brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration and Longview Bank. This is your Illini Nation Postseason Special.
It is win or go home time for the Illini, and after a wild ride of a regular season, Illinois enters the postseason with its fourth straight 20-win season, a 7 seed in the Big Ten tournament. They have dreams of making a second weekend run in the NCAA tournament. To make that happen, though, key veterans like Terrence Shannon Jr. and Matthew Meyer will have to step up. Confidence certainly not an issue for Meyer. More on his unique story ahead. We're also heading to Chicago. Andy Olson live there with a beautiful backdrop in the city. Andy?
Yeah, Brett, and Illinois will need to find some more consistency to make it an extended stay here in the Windy City. We've got more coming up live from the shores of Lake Michigan on how the Illini feel confidence-wise going into the Big Ten tournament.
Welcome to the Your Illini Nation Postseason Special. I'm your host, Bret Beherns. Andy Olson, you saw there live in Chicago with the Illini. Brice Bement will join us here in the studio coming up. Special guests, Derek Piper from Illini Inquirer and Brad Evans from Bally Sports drop by as well as we break down the Big Ten tournament back in the United Center for the first time since 2019. The first stop for the Orange and Blue as they look to make a run in March. Here's a look at the Big Ten bracket. Our opening set of games going on right now. Ohio State and Wisconsin playing there at the UC. Minnesota and Nebraska will follow later on. Second round games start in the morning and run all day. Illinois earns that 7 seed. They will take on Penn State. The winner of this game will face Northwestern, the 2 seed, on Friday evening. The Wildcats, the surprise of the Big Ten this season. Purdue, the Big Ten tournament top seed after winning the outright league title with a 15-5 record. Northwestern gets the tiebreaker over Indiana with Michigan State fourth. Despite the Spartans playing one less game in the conference, Illinois finishes in a 4-way tie for 5th with Iowa, Maryland, and Michigan. They only have the tiebreaker over the Wolverines. That's why the Orange and Blue, the 7 seed. This is the 4th straight season with a top 5 finish for Illinois. The Illini arrived in Chicago on Tuesday, and the Windy City is where we find WCIA3's Andy Olson with live with more, and the Illini just trying to get some positive momentum here heading in to the postseason. Andy?
Yeah, Brett, that is correct. And to do that, they might need their freshman guard, Jaden Epps, back. Brad Underwood told us on Monday that after missing the previous 2 games, he's finally back to his baseline to get into the Illini's concussion protocols, and he is making the trip up to the Windy City, which is different than the last 2 games to end the regular season when he stayed back in Champaign. Illinois gets to stay in-state for the tournament this time around. It's going to make it that much more special for guys like Terrence Shannon Jr. to play the tournament back in his home city.
Probably like a little tournament when I was in high school, but I never really played there for real. That's where I grew up. Dreamed of playing at an NBA arena. It'll just be a good feeling, and it'll be a better feeling winning the Big Ten tournament.
The last time Illinois played inside the house that Jordan built, they were walking off the court after one of the worst seasons in school history. Back after 4 years, the 22-23 season could be considered one of the most up and down the Illini have faced. From losing 3 in a row to begin conference play to winning 7 of 8 in January to more recently having to erase deficits of 18 and 24 points.
Really the start of the games, I think we just got to come out with energy and set the tone right away. I don't think we've played a game like that yet.
Just coming out with the grit that we do when we're down 20 or down 15 points. Just coming out with more edge and just getting prepared better.
Coleman Hawkins is the only scholarship player remaining who saw minutes in the Illini's tournament title run in 2021. It'll be 4 games in 4 days if Illinois will do it again, as it also tries to improve its NCAA tournament seeding. And the Illini have belief they've yet to hit their ceiling this year.
We don't need to worry about any of that stuff. Let's just go out and worry. Penn State gives you enough to worry about, and we'll focus on that.
Iowa did it last year, right? Shoot, maybe I'll have to talk to Mr. McCaffrey or somebody over there. Just having belief that you're going to win it. You know, you can never go into something and just not believe you're going to win. So I think we all believe we're going to win this.
To prove Coleman Hawkins right, the Illini will need to get past Penn State first, and they better believe in that old saying, Brett, that it's hard to beat a team 3 times. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Andy, thank you. What seed will the Illini be come Selection Sunday? Bracketologist Bret Beherns joins us in studio with more on how much a run at the Big Ten tournament could boost that resume. Also tonight.
I want our kids to enjoy this. I want our kids to learn from, okay, this is where we want our program to get to. But I also do think we can go and win.
The Illinois women's basketball team anxiously awaits its name to be called in the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2003. How they are approaching this weekend between their first trip to the big dance in 2 decades.
The Your Illini Nation Postseason Special continues now.
It has been a historic season for the Illinois women's basketball team. Head coach Shauna Green has transformed the program into a winner. This time last year, she was charged to put some life into a team that hadn't made the NCAA tournament since 2003. And what do you know? They're on the verge of doing just that. It has been greener pastures for the Orange and Blue with the first 20-win season since 2008, a 15-win improvement from last year. That is a program record for the Illini, 3rd best in Big Ten history. And this stat stands out big time to me. 7 Big Ten wins in 5 years under Nancy Fay. They have 11 conference wins this season. Transfers Makara Cook, Genesis Bryant have paved the way. Coming in and providing big boost shooting, the Illini are the top 3-point shooting team in the Big Ten, while returners Kendall Bosick, Adalia McKenzie, and Jada Peebles have been key players for a defense that ranks 3rd in the Big Ten. It all adds up to the Illini all but hearing their name on Selection Sunday for the first time since 2003.
Like the ones that have been to the, NCAA tournament before, we kind of know what that's like. So just kind of having that confidence and just being like, hey, this is how it goes. This is what you need to do. Like, it's going to be nerve-wracking at first, but, I think we're excited for it.
I want our kids to enjoy this. I want our kids to learn from, okay, this is where we want our program to get to. But I also do think we can go and win. So we're going to work. We're going to enjoy the practices. We're going to get rest. And then we're going to see what happens at the selection show.
Here's a look at the Illini team sheet. These are the key factors the selection committee will use. Headlined by a 22-9 record, 42 in the net, a 3-6 mark in quad 1 games. The 0-2 quad 2 record certainly hurts their resume a bit, along with a strength of schedule of 96. Their non-con SOS 322. All of that information used to determine where the Illini will fall in the 68 field bracket. Currently, bracketologist Charlie Krem from ESPN has the Illini as a 9 seed. They would be playing in the Virginia Tech 1st and 2nd round site. We'll see where they end up on Selection Sunday. Here's a look at the Illinois men's team sheet. 20-11 overall, 33 net, 2-10 in quad 1 record is a bit jarring. The last quad 1 win for the Orange and Blue in December against Texas. 31 strength of schedule is strong. Brad Evans, Joe Lunardi, and Jerry Palm all project the Illini as an 8 seed right now. Brad Underwood says he feels like he has a team that can make a run.
I think we're playing our best basketball. I really think we've shown that we can play with anybody in this tournament, and it is, win or go home. We're guaranteed nothing from here on out, so we'll go fight. I know this. I wouldn't want to play us.
No one better to help us all sort it out in the NCAA tournament scenarios for the Illini than Brad Evans, the best bracketologist out there. You see him on Bally Sports, the EP of gaming content there. On Twitter, Noisy Huevos. Let's start with this. How do you view this year's Illini, the roller coaster ride that it's been, first as a fan, because I know you're an Illinois fan, second as the outside perspective of the basketball analyst that you are?
Yeah, look, I think the best way to describe Illinois, they're kings of inconsistency, and they have a permanent and prominent role on that throne because you don't know what you're going to get. They are the Forrest Gump box of chocolates. When you open them up, who knows what it's going to be. We know what they're capable of, when they play Texas, when they play UCLA, or they could get ousted in round 1 of the tournament.
You have the Illini as an 8 seed in your big board on your bracket, available on Bally Sports. What do you feel like their seed ceiling is? What do you feel like the floor is for that as they head into the Big Ten tournament?
Oh, impossibly, if they somehow win the whole enchilada in Chicago, maybe looking at a 6 seed. Lowest point, let's say they lose again to Penn State. I think they're going to be fixed as a 9 seed.
All right, let's get to the Big Ten bracket first. In your prediction, we're going to focus on the Illini here, a 7 seed, like you mentioned, taking on Penn State. And I know a lot of Illini fans thinking, like, who's going to guard Jalen Pickett?
Nobody.
after he dropped 40-plus on the Illini. But, Brad, you actually like the Illini to advance here to beat Penn State, take on Northwestern. Why do you got the confidence they're going to do that?
Well, look, third time is usually the charm in a lot of these matchups. And when you get swept by a team the first two, rodeos, hopefully the third time you're actually going to be able to pack a pistol and advance on to that next line. And I think Illinois is going to be able to do that. And I have Illinois beat Northwestern, too. Sure. And again, I think Northwestern's had a tremendous season, storybook season for them, fantastic defensive team, but very inept offensively. Indiana, another one of those box of chocolate scenarios. You don't know what you're going to get night in, night out. I think that's going to be a really difficult matchup for Illinois to get over.
Who do you like to win this whole thing? Big Ten this year certainly been wild and crazy, pretty much top to bottom.
Well, I got Michigan playing Indiana in the final, and that may be a shocker special. A lot of people, Michigan really beating Purdue? Well, Purdue hasn't exactly moved the meter here of late. I think Indiana, though, will prevail here in the end.
As we move closer to that NCAA tournament, brackets will be revealed Sunday right here on WCIA 3 following the conclusion of that Big Ten title game. Millions out there will fill out brackets. Millions will have them tore up, ripped to shreds by the first or second round.
Guilty.
All of us, I think, have been in that boat. But you have a couple of tips here, Brad, as we move along. Your first one, don't fall in love with too many Cinderellas.
You don't want to date too many of the Cinderellas, no matter how hot they are. I will say this, if you're going to venture into the upset realm, 3 to 4 in general is a good rule to live by. And even if you look at last year, you had a number of double-digit seeds, 4 in fact, that made it on to the next round.
Number 2 on Brad's 3 big things, top dogs don't always pack the biggest bite.
The number 1 seeds historically, and this is where I say the top dogs don't always pack the most bite, it's right around 55-56% of them advanced on to the Final Four. So you got to have variety. Last year we had 2 8-2-1 seeds make it to the Mecca of college basketball, with Kansas, of course, cutting down the nets, beating Carolina.
Number 3 thing, team balance wins titles most of the time. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, look, I'm a numbers nerd. One of the telltale signs is how you measure up in adjusted offensive and adjusted defensive efficiency. And typically, teams that, win the title, they average right around 7 in adjusted offensive national ranking and 8 in adjusted defensive national ranking. Right now, what you really need to focus on are teams that rank inside the top 25 in both categories. And only 7 teams in college basketball currently can, brag that they're top 25 in offensive and defensive efficiency.
Brad, thanks for your time. We've still got more to come here on the Your Illini Nation postseason special. We'll hear from one Illini returning from injury as Andy Olson rejoins us from Chicago with more on that. Plus,
it's a great product. You just have to drink responsibly. You know what I'm saying?
From too many monsters to never seeing a 3 he doesn't like, the Matthew Meyer experience has been one Illini fans won't forget anytime soon. More on his unique game and personality next. Two Illini earned all Big Ten honors, highlighted by Terrence Shannon Jr., first team by the coaches, second team by the media. Matthew Meyer, a third team member by both the coaches and media. Zach Edey, the player of the year, no surprise there. Northwestern's Chris Collins, the coach of the year. And Brice, the Illini could face the Cats Friday night in a quarterfinal game. Would love to see that. And for Matthew Meyer, it would be good. He has put up 31 points in their 2 games against Northwestern this season.
That's right. And Matthew Meyer has continued to show he's someone the Illini took towards the crucial games. Coming from a national championship at Baylor, the transfer had a slow start in the orange and blue, but after making a change midseason, he started to feel like himself again.
I have a really strong faith. I knew that at some point it was going to turn around.
Matthew Meyer came to Champaign not feeling like himself. The 12th best transfer in the country, according to 24/7 Sports, had a lot of pressure to make an impact for Illinois. But something wasn't right both on and off the court. An allergy test revealed he was eating foods like wheat, milk, and eggs that made him sick.
So I've had a lot of stuff wrong with my body, and we're finally getting it right. So I've never felt better in my career.
He never got dejected with the slow start. He gained confidence. He's a very confident young man. It's just a growth process. I'm really happy for him. He's had a terrific season.
After only scoring in double figures once in the first 8 games of the season, Meyer has scored 20+ in 3 out of the last 6. Maybe it's something in the water, or in Matt's case, his energy drinks.
I had caffeine poisoning. I literally had 6 Monsters the day of the game because I like a caffeine-induced euphoria to play video games in. And so I could barely get out of bed the next day. It was like basically like a caffeine hangover.
The overserved Meyer wasted no time bouncing back, putting up a team-high 24 points in an overtime win against Michigan, walking into the post-game press conference with 2 Monsters.
You know, it's a great product. You just have to drink responsibly, you know what I'm saying? They DM'd me after the game and commented on my post, so I think we got something in the works.
That's a special dude, man. As y'all can see, he's pretty funny. Makes everybody laugh. He's a great player, great scorer.
Meyer and Terrence Shannon Jr. are the 2 leading scorers for Illinois. Matt averaging 13 a game, Terrence 17.1. And the Illini have continued to have success in the postseason. They will need the transfers to lead the way. They're the only 2 guys on the roster who have played in the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, a place the Illini haven't been since 2005. Brett?
Brice, thanks. Our Illini expert Derek Piper joins us in studio next with more analysis and prediction for the Big Ten tournament. Plus, Andy Olson live back in Chicago.
Yeah, Brett, the three-pointer has been elusive for the Illini this season, but one player back fully healthy may help that. More on that next.
Welcome back to the Your Illini Nation postseason special. Our guy Derek Piper from Illini Inquirer joining us now in studio. You've seen him all year on the Your Illini Nation pregame show, and we made it postseason time, Derek. But I'll start with this. Do we even know what this team is?
They're a talented team, one that has had the highs and lows that have been really frustrating if you're a fan out there. Of course, beating Texas, beating UCLA. We know this team is capable of a lot, but which version's going to show up? They're definitely an enigma. But it's always been about the postseason with this team. It's whether you can get to that elusive Sweet 16 and Matthew Meyer, Terrence Shannon, guys that have been there before. And can they play their best basketball? Brad says they are.
He said that after Purdue. Do you believe him, though, that they're playing their best basketball?
Not in a consistent form. 4 of their last 7 games, they've been trailing by double digits at halftime. I don't think you've built a consistency where you can say we're peaking at the right time, we're without a doubt trending in the right direction.
They have lived on the edge all season long. These highs and lows, hot and cold halves even. That's not a recipe for success in postseason time. Other than that, though, which is the obvious, what are some other things that you're looking at that they have to do well here to make a good run in March?
Just seems like teams have been too comfortable offensively against Illinois. We know that they can play some good defense, but they've got to be able to come out with more urgency, more execution early in games. Maybe you throw out this full court press when you're not in moments of desperation. I think that's something to look for. And then while there's been a lot of focus on the starts, I think the finishes, you were in the game late at Iowa, at Indiana, at Purdue. Just we're not able to make those plays down the stretch to come up with some key buckets. So I think that Brad has to really dial in on what's their identity late in game. They got to fix that because, as we know in March, a lot of close games and in those tense moments, you got to be able to come up and make those shots that are the difference between advancing or going home.
All right, NCAA tournament to come, but let's get to the Big Ten bracket right now. Derek has a prediction, once again focusing here on Illinois' side. And our good buddy Brad Evans, I don't know, maybe you need to like slip him a 20 or something. Similar bracket here, Derek.
Hey, now.
I'm not saying anything, but he came before us in the show. You've got Illinois advancing here to beat Penn State just like Brad did.
It just seems like Penn State has Illinois' kryptonite, but the good thing is Illinois seen what has led to those mistakes, where I think with a bigger lineup, I'd like to see Ty on Jalen Pickett early. I wouldn't mind seeing him slotted into that starting lineup. I'd like to make them uncomfortable. I think Illinois will be looking, obviously, for that revenge. It's the cliche, it's tough to beat a team 3 times in one season. I think Illinois will prevail, but Penn State, a ton of motivation sitting there right on the cut line of the tournament. They really need this game to not sweat it on Selection Sunday.
All right, and you even like here Illinois and Northwestern as we advance the bracket. You've got Illinois playing Indiana on Saturday. 2 wins in the Big Ten tournament. I think Illini Nation would feel a whole lot better about that. Why do you like the Illini over the Cats?
I just think that as you look back at that matchup in Champaign, Illinois was able to get into Bowie with Sincere Harris, make him uncomfortable, kind of slow him down. Northwestern doesn't have a whole lot of other firepower. Terrence Shannon overwhelmed them offensively. So I look for Illinois in what would be a great environment at the UC. Yeah. Northwestern's turnout, Illinois. Let's get that matchup.
All right, that takes us to Saturday and your Final Four here, Derek, as we look at what you've got. Michigan, Michigan State, Illinois, and Indiana, and you've got the Hoosiers beating the Illini. I'd love to see this rematch as well. and a phenomenal battle of Michigan teams there at the top.
I think it's a tough matchup going up against Trace, who's been as good as anyone in college basketball the last 2 months of the season. Jalen Hood-Schifino has developed into a bona fide star. We talked about lead guard issues for Illinois. I think that's a big advantage for the Hoosiers, and I do think Indiana advances over Illinois.
All right, who do you got? Hoosiers and Spartans win it at all?
I have Indiana. I've been putting a lot of stock in this Hoosier squad, not trending like world beaters down the stretch, but I just have to rely on Trace. If there is a weak spot on Michigan State's squad, it's containing real threats on the inside. Tom Izzo not hitting the portal for a big man. I think it's hurting them. We'll hurt them in the championship game. Indiana wins the Big Ten tournament.
To watch our full 10-plus minute conversation, head to our website, YourIlliniNation.com. My extended interview with Brad Evans there as well. The fun doesn't stop there. We still have at least 2 more pregame shows remaining with Derek. Illini Nation hoping for a whole lot more than that, though. Watch before every game directly in our WCIA 3 Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube timelines. Andy Olson will be with Derek tomorrow night at the United Center for the pregame show. He rejoins us from the Lakeshore with more on Luke Goody. Andy?
Yeah, Brett, that's right. Illinois been without one of their best three-point shooters for most of the season, and it shows. Illinois coming in last in the Big Ten in three-point field goal percentage during the regular season. Rehab seems slow as Goody recovered from a broken left foot suffered in a preseason scrimmage. The Indiana native made his season debut late into the season, and after a few weeks of easing in, he's feeling back.
You know, in the past I was saying, you know, I was good, and that was more of a confidence thing, but I really feel like I'm back now. Like, I'm 100% good. You know, in practice I've been able to do a lot of things, continuing to fletch every single day, you know, get my lateral movement back. I think that's one of the biggest things that, you know, I lost from the beginning of the season when I was healthy. But, you know, I feel good now.
Luke Goody would be a big spark for the Illini, firing on all cylinders. Here's the matchup tomorrow. Illinois taking on the Nittany Lions, who beat them twice in the regular season. Game starts at 5:30. So, Brett, for the last time from me, very windy Chicago tonight. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Andy, thank you so much. That's going to do it for the Your Illini Nation postseason special for Andy Olson, Brice Bement, and our special guests, Brad Evans and Derek Piper. I'm Bret Beherns saying good night and enjoy the Big Ten tournament.
This has been your Illini Nation Postseason Special, a special presentation of WCIA 3 Sports, sponsored by Blue Sky Restoration and Longview Bank.